And so it begins. The beginning of the no weld Astro van roof rack. What we're looking at here is 3 pieces of 1/4 inch thick angle 2x2 here. They're 12 feet long because that's what they come in. And then I've got some 3/4 inch, they call it 1/2 inch because they measure the center, but it's 1/8 inch wall. This was 1 20-footer cut in half, so I got 2 10-footers. And then this here is steel because they didn't have it in aluminum. It's 16 gauge. It was 2 20-foot pieces. I had each one cut to 3 parts, so they're 80 inches long. They are 1.5 inches by 3/4. This was my original quick sketch I sent to my fabricator. I thought I was going to weld originally. Talking to him, I made some changes, and I'm going to try to explain it to you here. The idea here is that I'm going to cut some of that angle and make 8 of these. They're different sizes. The 2 fronts, the 2 rears are longer. Center ones are shorter. The idea I'm going to do is I'm going to try to put these in the same holes as the factory roof rack. Then these long sections, there'll be 2 of those. They're going to run the whole length of the van. And then the rectangle steel tubing is going to sit right on top of that. It's going to cantilever past it. I'm going to do a hole saw cut on the top, right? Let's say your tubing is underneath here. I'm sorry, your angle is underneath here. You got your roof rack system. I don't know which side I'm going to do all this on yet, but you got your it's the part that mounts to the roof. The hole saw hole is so that I can get a bolt through here and a nut and use a ratchet through the top of that. The idea here on the ends is I'm going to try to radius these end cuts on the sides so that the round tube fits snugly into that. I'm going to take a medium density wood plug and epoxy it. I'm going to make it so it fits real snug. It really won't come out of there. But I'll throw some epoxy in there anyhow and try to epoxy that in place. And the thought is I'm just going to drill through it and put a bolt right through the pipe, right into that. Should hold. I'm thinking when I do that, maybe I'll put some JB Weld in here, squish it out, and then kind of sand that relatively smooth. These will all be pre-painted black as well, and then I'll touch it up after it's up there. That's the idea. Now, what we have up here now is, you've seen it yesterday. I posted a video on this. You got your factory rack. If these screws that hold the factory rack mounts to the roof, if they don't come out, if they snap, break, whatever, then it changes things to a degree. That means I have to go inside the van and remove the headliner first, get underneath there, cut away the rev nut inserts, and then go with a different system, which I'm fine with. I'm going to take that out anyhow. I'm kind of doing this all now because I figure I'm probably going to have to do the headliner at the same time or pretty close to the same time. But the idea is those aluminum pieces will go here, the angle will rest on there, go all the way across. See the bounce in this? A lot of bounce in that, right? And that's it's interesting because I know there is a rib here. Now, I'm gonna play with this. I may drill up from inside the van between the 2 screw mounts because I know that there's the center of a rib there. I could drill up through and into that angle. I could hard mount it directly to the rib that's under here. It's a thought. Right now, these cross members are 55 inches wide, and I kept everything pretty tight. I mean, it's narrower than the top of the van. My idea is to come past here, another 6 inches on each side. So I'm going to add a foot to the width of this. It's going to stick out past the side of the top anyhow, up here, and have that long bar on here. Right now this is a 1-inch bar, and it's too thick for factory, like when you buy. Ooh. I just walked right into that. It's too fat for a hook from like, if you use a ratchet strap or something. That's why I'm going to go with the 3/4 inch. I'm unimpressed with the rigidity or the lack of rigidity in the aluminum tube. It may have been a mistake getting that, but we won't know until I try it. Worst case scenario, I'll get a solid round bar of steel and then have that welded in place. And that could happen afterwards. I just want to show you something real quick because it might sound like, oh, he's going to hang over. That doesn't make any sense, too much. Keep in mind that the whole side of the van bumps out at the center. It's curved, so the tail end of this vehicle is narrower. And if I was to put my level here and run it straight up at level, from the edge of that level to the edge of that wood is 9.5 inches. So it'll be 3 inches shorter than the overall width at the rear. So I don't think I'm gonna have any problems with this thing clearing anything. And obviously, you know, of course, the mirror still sticks out a lot further as well. So I think we'll be golden. That's gonna give me, theoretically, a foot wider on the top. And keep in mind, this material right now is sitting on the sheet of plywood that was up on that roof for, it's been over 2 years. It might be 3 years. I can't really remember. But that's a standard 4x8 sheet of plywood. It looks smaller just sitting there on the floor. But yeah, so a foot wider on that is going to be good. I'm not planning to do plywood on the top. I'm thinking decking it. And I don't know what I'm going to do there. I kind of want to use a hardwood, like an Apatong or an Ipe. Apatong's cheaper. Not cheap, though. It's still costly. But that stuff, it's an ironwood, wears really well. They use it on truck beds. And I was thinking about oil, like pre-oiling all 4 edges, 6 edges. And then just keep putting oil on the top as it needs it to kind of preserve it a bit. I don't know. I may go with something less costly just as an experiment first to see how I like it. But, you know, if you're using a softer wood, it's not going to wear as well. So we'll just see where I'm at with that. There's a pretty decent quality cedar at Lowe's, a 1x6 that I just used for something. It's not bad. So I don't know. The idea here is originally what I had going on was pretty low profile. Doing the math on this, if my 2" is only coming up about what the factory roof height is there, and then I'm only coming up 3/4 inch above that with that square tubing, and then I do another 3/4 on top of that, I'm gonna be at probably under the height that I was at with this. So, you know, trying to keep things low profile always looks better, less wind resistance, all that sort of thing. A lot of the rack systems that you buy, they're too high up on the roof, if you ask me. Also, I've eyeballed and held the parts from other companies that make roof racks. There's a pretty popular company that makes stuff for the Astro vans in Arizona, and I looked at what he did. It's you know, he has a similar system. They're L's that bolt where the factory mounts would mount, but it's steel and it's powder coated, but it's very thin stuff. I'm not even sure it's a 1/16 of an inch. It's probably in that range. I know it's not an 1/8 inch. It's pretty thin stuff. And he's got like a roof rack basket thing. And it's very, very thin walled tubing. It's definitely not strong enough for anything I need. He swears it's strong, but anything I put in would definitely destroy it. The system I'm doing it the way I'm doing it because I want it to be very, very strong. Because I put a lot of weight on this thing with lumber and that sort of stuff. So I think what I'm doing is going to work. A little on the fence with the angle, but I just was playing with that. I can't get that to bend over 12 feet, putting my weight, 200 pounds on it. So I think we're going to be good. And once the ribs get up there and they're all attached and then the decking's on it, that's going to disperse the weight evenly. I think I'm going to be golden on this. So stay tuned. I'm going to do a series of these shortish videos for Instagram, and then I might put this one up on YouTube just as a beginning post, and then the rest of them will all be on Instagram. That's at Astro Van Tribe. And then at the end, when I'm done, there'll be a nice video of it for YouTube. So have a great day. Be good to each other. Bye.